to the ballpark is a lot of fun, and the guys I play with are great. Their attitude's been great, and so we're looking forward to getting back and trying to catch Colorado.
We are a lot of fun. Back to you, Al.
All right. You guys are a lot of fun too.
Thank you.
Good to be back with you guys again.
It's great.
We sort of drift in and out of people's lives these days, don't we?
Lately we have.
Yes.
We talked about 5 batting titles, and that's what Tony Gwynn looking 5 right here.
Boggs takes up and in, and the count 2 balls and no strikes.
Tony Gwynn's such a good hitter. They have a new movie about his life out. Batman Forever. I'm sure one of your favorites, James. Both he and Boggs, though, it'd be interesting to see how they end up when their careers are over. Who's going to be ahead? I would imagine that Gwynn has the advantage because of his speed and can get a lot more infield hits than Wade can.
Sure.
Also, Tony a little bit younger, and but it's amazing about Boggs. I mean, I've seen him for like 10 or 12 years. I've actually, as you look at Tony Gwynn, I pitched against him. I think he was 2 for 5, but he hadn't really changed. He never goes in slumps. He just goes in periods of adjustments.
2-1 to Boggs is grounded to right field for a base hit. Ripken will take the turn, then hold at second as Sanders' throw comes in. The American League with 2 on and nobody out now against Green and Kirby Puckett coming to the plate. And here's a situation where the All-Star game's a little bit different than other games as Boggs hits it into the hole. The number 8 hitter in a regular season game might lay down a bunt in this situation. To me, they should ban bunting in an All-Star game. The fans don't come to see you bunt.
Unless they're bunting for a base hit.
Exactly. Right. I don't think that Kirby, with a .318 lifetime batting average coming into this season, is thinking too much about bunting. The amazing thing is that Boggs doesn't pull the ball very well, and situationally, he just had a great at bat. Did exactly what a number 2 hitter in an inning should do, especially with a man on first. Pull it into right field.
Puckett waves at it and doesn't get it. 0-1.
I was in the American League clubhouse, as we all were before the game, and the American League was taking the field, and the last guy out was Kirby Puckett. And one of the coaches came in and said, all right, time to stretch. Kirby said, stretch? I haven't stretched this body in 30 years.
That's a tough body to stretch.
Yeah, right.
You saw Jim Edmonds taking some home video as the pitch was taken for a strike, and the count 0-2.
Well, Kirby's a free swinger, and we just saw what really makes Tyler Green so tough, that knuckle curveball. I mean, he throws in the 90s, but that's his out pitch. And I think Kirby saw it for the first time and was a little bit shocked. Really came down off the table.
0-2 the count. Nobody out. Bottom of the 5th inning. The American League on top 2-0 on a Frank Thomas home run. And down goes Puckett. So that's out number 1, and we'll bring up Ivan Rodriguez. And the crowd again saluting their local boy.
We'll take another look. And I talked to Tyler Green. I said, you throw a 2-seamer, 4-seamer. He said, I throw it 4 seams. It sinks, it sails, it goes up, it goes down. That's what I call a live arm.
Tyler Green was just what the Phillies needed this year, with all of their pitchers down for the most part. Kurt Schilling down at the beginning of the year. Tyler Green has really picked up that staff to allow Jim Fragosi's crew to contend this year.
Well, Nomo, of course, was such an improbable all-star selection when the season began. So would Tyler Green. Last year, Green is pitching at Scranton Wilkes-Barre in the International League and leads the league in losses and in walks. And here he is in the All-Star game.
Well, I'll tell you what, he got some tutelage from one of the great pitching coaches in baseball.
Johnny
Padres.
Oh, outstanding.
You know, I mean, Padres one of the great changeups, and that's his 3rd pitch. And he said all winter long he worked on that changeup. He said he threw it about the 2nd day of spring training. Padres said, threw it down and away. He said, throw it over the plate, and it's the last time they've ever talked about it.
That's grounded toward the hole, backhanded by Larkin, who goes to second for 1 and back to first, not in time there. So Boggs is forced out at second. Ripken is now at third, and Rodriguez at first with 2 down, and at the top of the order now in Lofton.
Tell you the reason why this is a good play. Not only does Larkin make the play, but Biggio almost completes the double play. That would have been one for the books had that been completed. Fine play by Barry Larkin.
Well, it's the old story with Rodriguez. Runs well for a catcher.
Oh, thank you. My favorite phrases.
One of the great qualifiers of all time, huh?
Yeah, right.
There's a shattered bat. The barrel winds up to the right of the mound, and Green throws him out. So Tyler gets himself out of a jam, and at the end of 5, it's the American League 2 and the National League nothing.
Time. It fools you. You think you have all the time in the world, and then one morning you wake up and you're older and getting closer to retirement. But many Americans haven't saved enough to enjoy it. That's why there's Sun America. Ask your financial advisor about us today. Because it's not just your retirement, it's your future. Look to the sun. Sun America.
I'll have the chili.
Chili? You should know better.
And I'll have the fries.
Fries? You should know better.
And now I'll have the Mylanta.
Mylanta? You should know better.
You should know. Dose for dose, Tums Ultra neutralizes more acid than Mylanta regular strength. And while this has aluminum and magnesium,
Tums Ultra has calcium, something your body needs anyway. You'll like that.
I'll have the chili.
I know. I should know.
You ever hear anyone talk about life like you gotta chew it up and spit it out? You gotta want it so bad you can taste it. You gotta be hungry. If so, Gatorade has one question for you. You want something to drink with that? Because you're gonna be thirsty. Life is a sport. Drink it up.
Samuel Faulkner has been thrown a curve.
I'm pregnant.
Here's the windup. And the pitch.
Oh, you hit like a girl, you.
Knock me out! Now it's a full count.
Follow me. No.
Because this summer, one comedy is a home run from the director of Mrs. Doubtfire. 9 months, rated PG-13. Starts tomorrow at theaters everywhere.
Get ready for the summer's hottest hit. The Indians, the Braves, the Red Sox, and the Reds are all in the season premiere of Baseball Night in America, Saturday on ABC.
Back in Arlington, Al Michaels with Jim Palmer, Tim McCarver, the All-Star game, the most innings to start an All-Star game without getting a hit. The American League 5 1/3 innings back in 1961 at Candlestick Park before Harmon Killebrew hit a home run. Now we start the 6th. The National League still doesn't have a hit, and Barry Larkin to lead things off. It's Larkin, Castilla, and Biggio due up in that order. Larkin grounded out in the 3rd inning. So Randy Johnson went 2, Kevin Apier went 2, and now Dennis Martinez in his 2nd inning of work, and that's hit softly into the glove of Baerga. So that's 5 1/3. No-hit innings with Castilla coming up, and let's get a quick word from Rick Dempsey.
You're at home. Your team's in first place. This is your first All-Star game. You're at home. How do you feel about going in there now?
Well, I'm a little nervous, but hopefully when I get out there, after the first pitch, I'll calm down and be able to do a good job for my guys here.
All right, good luck, Kenny.
Appreciate it.
Back to you, Al.
All right, Rick. So we'll see Kenny Rogers, and now we'll see Vinny Castilla, another of the improbable starters. Castilla takes up high. Here's a guy who is starting because Matt Williams is hurt. But you think about Castilla playing on, all of a sudden, a very good team in its 3rd year, the Rockies, with Dante Bichette here and 2 players not here, Andres Galarraga and Larry Walker. In its 3rd year, their 3rd year, the Rockies not only good, but a talented team with stars and interesting players to watch.
3 of the top 4 home run hitters in the National League belong to the Colorado Rockies. And there's the guy sandwiched in between. Of course, Matt Williams, who broke his right foot last year, was on a pace to break Babe Ruth's record. He ended the strike-shortened season with 43 home runs.
Castilla grounds it down to 3rd. Boggs stays with it. Nice play. Wade won a Gold Glove last year. You saw right there the way he adjusted.
Oh, did he ever?
Erratic hop.
You know, last year talking really the coach for the Yankees that really set the defense was Clete Boyer, one of the great 3rd basemen of all time. And right there, again, fast feet, quick hands, and sure hands. And here's a guy we talked about the 5. Oh yeah, perfect. The 5 batting titles, but he worked real hard on his defense. He's trying to work real hard in our air conditioning.
Fan appreciation day.
Fans for fans. So 5 2/3 scoreless innings, the longest a team has gone ever in an all-star game. And we talked about at the very top, 245, the collective batting average through the years. Right now, the collective average in this game is 139. The teams are 5 for 36. So it's become a spectacle for the pitchers, especially in recent years. Yeah.
Right.
With the occasional aberration like last year as Biggio lifts one down the line, deep left field, and it is gone. Craig Biggio, with Felipe Alou saluting him, gets the National League's first hit. And as was the case in '61 when Killebrew got the American League's first hit with a home run, Biggio with a home run here for the Nationals' first hit.
Well, I think if you go back to '91 and the year Cal Ripken was most valuable player, he had a home run off Dennis Martinez on a similar pitch, a high curveball. So you make a great pitch away, you speed up the bat, and Biggio says, "Thank you very much. I'll just loft it into the second deck."
That home run at Sky Dome to center field.
American League leading 2-1, and Len Dykstra comes up for the 3rd time in the game. He is walked and grounded out. Strike, 0-1. You can tell, even though the dimensions here can be difficult in spots, it's an asymmetrical park. 390, for instance, to the power alley in left center. It's a good hitter's park as Dykstra gets backed off.
Well, Buck Showalter, the manager of the Yankees here over the weekend, said the infield is like concrete. It carries everywhere. You know, he said somebody asked me where the ball carries. I just said everywhere. And there he is, hiding from us.
Second youngest manager in baseball. He was the youngest when the season began. But with Gene Lamont of the Chicago White Sox being fired, Terry Bevington, who took Lamont's place, now becomes the youngest manager in baseball.
Who's older, Showalter or the pitcher Dennis Martinez?
Dennis Martinez, a little more than a year.
Well, Showalter might be the oldest in the game if Steinbrenner keeps looking over his shoulder on road trips.
You know, I was wondering, we walked in yesterday and it was pretty warm, and I was wondering what's warmer, the ballpark at Arlington or managing for George Steinbrenner? I mean, some intensity there.
That's more than a rumor then, huh? That George calls Buck on occasion.
I would imagine so.
The 2-2 pitch is just off the plate. Ball 3. There was the temperature on the field at 3:30 this afternoon. We're back in double digits right now. But it's a dry heat, as they say, right?
Yeah, right.
3-2 is hit right back to the box. And Martinez takes care of Dykstra. But the National League gets on the board in the 6th on the home run by Biggio at the end of 5.5. American League 2, National League 1.
It has dominated the field. And now Toyota's newest 4x4 Tacoma has arrived. Only it's stronger. Tacoma's impressively powerful new 190 horsepower V6 outguns the leading competitor's best. It's tougher, out here where toughness counts. And with its class-leading ground clearance, Tacoma runs free. Toyota Tacoma, the arrival of the fittest.
Apollo 13 is the #1 movie in America.
Houston, we have a problem.
Time magazine calls it one hell of a ride. Tom Hanks, Apollo 13, rated PG, now playing.
Roger, command target confirmed at 059. Locked in and launching on my mark.
This guided missile is brought to you by Ken Norton and his Reebok NFL Pro Line jacket, who remind you that players are made in the preseason.
If you love to eat spicy foods, you know heartburn can be a real problem. Well, not anymore. This is new Pepcid AC Acid Controller. Pepcid AC not only relieves heartburn, Pepcid AC can actually prevent it by controlling acid at its source, so heartburn can't get started. No antacid can claim to do that. And with Pepcid AC, there are no chalky mincer liquids. Only one tiny Pepcid AC tablet prevents heartburn. You can be heartburn-free with new Pepcid AC.
Mickey Mantle makes his first public appearance since his transplant, and O.J. Simpson's attorneys call a witness who contradicts the prosecution. Those stories, weather, and sports coming up after the game.
The ballpark in Arlington as the All-Star game continues. Lights now taking full effect before a crowd of close to 50,000. And they're watching the American League on top by a score of 2-1. You saw that shot from the Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes. Sammy Sosa is now the center fielder for the National League. Bobby Bonilla comes into play third base, and Denny Nagel of the Pittsburgh Pirates, the only Pirate on the All-Star squad, is the new pitcher. And the batter is Carlos Baerga, who's 2 for 2 with a couple of singles. Denny Nagel, among other things, 9 wins for a team having a bad year, and hit a grand slam home run a couple of weeks ago.
Well, his pitching coach in Pittsburgh is Ray Miller, former pitching coach that I work with, and what he has said is that Denny's learned that more is less. In other words, don't try to overthrow. Take something off. Curveball, slider, fastball, changeup. Probably the changeup one of his best pitches. And as a big guy, you really don't expect that, but really changes speeds well.
That's hit fair inside the line and down into the corner, and is touched either by a fan or the ball boy or the chair. And so Baerga gets his third hit. He is 3 for 3 with 2 singles and now a ground rule double.
Now we see him from the other side. He's a switch hitter, and you're talking about one of the toughest outs in the American League. 2 straight years of over 200 hits, 20 home runs, and 100 RBIs. You just don't see that anymore.
And Baerga out, and Roberto Alomar, the only Blue Jay on the team, comes in to run for him. And Alomar will no doubt stay in the game at second base. Boy, it's crazy. The Blue Jays, back-to-back World Series winners, a treasure trove of individual talent, one guy on the All-Star team. What happened?
After having 7 placed there 2 years ago when the American League went to Baltimore, and Cito Gaston was the manager.
Well, tough to win games when you don't get good pitching. I mean, as good as they are offensively. Olerud, a couple of years ago hitting .360. This year really struggling.
Cleveland Indians, a perfect example. As good as they are offensively, they're leading the American League in pitching.
Edgar Martinez, who has struck out and popped out, hitting in the bottom of the 6th inning. The American League leading it 2-1. The American League has won 6 of the last 7 All-Star games, the sole exception last year. Stroke foul, and the count is 0-2.
It's also funny how it works out for a guy like Denny Nagel. Nagel came to the Pirates when the Pirates traded John Smiley to the Minnesota Twins. And what happened? Smiley comes back to the National League now with Cincinnati, and he and Nagel are 2 of 9 pitchers selected for the National League All-Star team. It just takes a while for a young pitcher to develop like Nagel.
Alomar is going. The pitch is up and in, and the throw is in the dirt.
Well, we talked about speed earlier. Lofton, Alomar with 11 steals, only been caught twice, and a guy that you wouldn't expect, Mo Vaughn, 10 out of 12. But Alomar, again, you time a young pitcher. Right there, he's getting the jump. He gets the good running jump, and easily.
Roberto, no stranger to the All-Star game, has now stolen 4 bases in his All-Star game appearances. And the infield plays in with the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. In the dirt, blocked by Piazza, 2-2 the count.
I tell you, it's hard to put a number on it, but you got a guy that's leading the American League hitting 363. You bring the infield in.
Not only that, but Martinez leading the American League against left-handed pitching too, batting .438 against lefties.
I would have to say this is a pretty good hitting situation.
Pretty good.
Nagel's 2-2 pitch is in the dirt again. 3 balls and 2 strikes on Martinez.
Couple of nice blocks by Mike Piazza, the catcher, smothering those balls in the dirt.
Alomar third. Nobody out in the 6th inning. American League leading 2-1. Popped up. Shallow left center field. Sosa coming in. And he makes the catch, and it's too shallow for Alomar to think about coming home. 1 down, and it will bring up Mo Vaughn. The All-Star Game is being brought to you by Toyota and their full line of quality cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me, by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper is just what the doctor ordered. And by Pepsid AC Acid Controller. You can be heartburn free with new Pepsid AC. Mo Vaughn hitting for the first time in the game. Frank Thomas started at first, fouled out, and hit a towering 2-run homer. And now the Red Sox first baseman stands in with a man out. The infield up and working against Denny Nagel. 1-0. Vaughn played his college ball at Seton Hall, as did Craig Biggio.
As did John Valentin of the Boston Red Sox, the shortstop who could very easily have been selected on the American League squad.
Mo leading the league in runs batted in, 1 in front of Mark McGwire, and Tino Martinez is next. McGwire, by the way, would have been here. He was named to the team, but he was beamed the other day by David Cone. Suffered a slight concussion, and they didn't want him to fly, and so Tino Martinez takes his spot on the bench.
And Vaughn, not an automatic out, not hitting as well, hitting .290 as a whole, but only .244 against left-handers, 4 of the 24 home runs. But usually hangs in well, and you talked earlier about the shoulder staying in. We'll see if he's able to do that, Tim.
Nagel's 2-1 is fouled back. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Mo.
Well, take a look at the front shoulder. Just like when you pitch, but let's see if he stays in. Yeah, pretty good plate coverage. Breaking ball a little bit up in the zone, but he hung right in there.
Off speed, got him. Boy, he really set him up.
Oh, he did. Well, again, we talked about Ray Miller. He said, work quickly, use all your pitches, and throw strikes. I mean, a great at bat for Edgar Martinez. He got jammed, and then Mo Vaughn. This looks like a breaking ball down and away. Location sometimes just as important as velocity. Certainly was there.
Now Albert Bell. So the National League had to play the infield in with a man at third and nobody out. Now they can go back to conventional depth with 2 down, and Bell at the plate. 2 out in the 6th. The American League leading 2-1. Off speed outside, 1-0 the count.
I'll tell you, Jim, in my judgment, velocity's about 3rd or 4th. It's way down the line. Location, movement, the later movement, the better. That's how you get batters out. Those guys don't come up to the big leagues if they can't catch up with a fastball.
2-0 the count. Alomar third. 2 down. And it's grounded to short. Larkin throws him out, and the inning is over. So they strand a runner at third after 6. 2-1 American, and back we come after this from our ABC stations.
One lawyer, one case, one mystery,
One suspect. One victim. One mistress. One wife. One surprise after another. After another. Murder One this fall on ABC.
I learned a lot about making pizza from my grandpa, and he didn't even cook. But he taught me always to do my best. So we use the best ingredients. We use only fresh packed tomatoes for Papa John's sauce, and real mozzarella cheese, and lean meats. Grandpa was right. You've got to do your very best. It's that simple. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Now get 2 large pizzas with your favorite topping for only $9.99 delivered.
If you're looking for a new or used car, the last thing you want to do is drive around all day stuck in traffic. You can get to Green's Toyota Lincoln Mercury in minutes from just about anywhere. New Circle Road Northeast, 10 acres of Toyotas, Lincolns, and Mercuries. Look at this map to Green's. It's easy. Or, if you really, really like traffic gridlock, you know where to go. Look, when it comes to sales, service, and selection and location, Green's Toyota Lincoln Mercury has got you covered.
The Apollo 13 movie, American Heroes, and we're bringing them back.
Hello, Hearties. We are hungry. Over.
Roger, Apollo. Recommend 3 Apollo combos. Over.
Roger.
2 juicy beef patties, cheese, and special sauce with booster-sized fries and Coke, just $2.99. Hardee's Apollo Combo.
We are go for lunch.
The biggest combo for the money on the planet.
Think they'll be back?
The taste always brings them back.
Fresh from the kitchen at Hardee's. Over.
Collect all 20 Apollo 13 Pog milk caps and Moon Slammer, just 99 cents with any Hardee's combo.
Power. Harness it and nothing stands in your way. Introducing Toyota Tacoma, a powerful new line of champion trucks. Only Tacoma 4x4's 190 horsepower V6 outmuscles the leading competition's best. Only Tacoma 4x2's 4-cylinder engine outruns the leading competition's V6s. And only Tacoma gives you class-leading payloads. Standard. Toyota Tacoma, the arrival of the fittest.
Alan Osmond's private struggle on the next A Current Affair.
Back in Arlington, Al Michaels with Jim Palmer and Tim McCarver, and all of baseball's ailments will not be solved in one night, but after what the sport has been through over the past year, it's great in a way. You get to a place like Arlington for the All-Star game, and it really is something very, very special, and is again this year.
Well, not a lot of big things have happened in Texas, and mostly, you know, from doing Monday Night Football, it's usually about football. So this is a major, major event.
Paul O'Neill is in left field. Roberto Alomar is at second base now, and the new pitcher is Kenny Rogers of the Texas Rangers. So Albert Bell is done for the night, and Alomar replacing Baerga at second base.
Talk about big events for this city, and certainly that is the case. Last year, the big event as far as baseball was concerned in this city was the perfect game pitched by Kenny Rogers.
Reggie Sanders the batter, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike.
He's come a long way. Talking about Kenny Rogers, was a reliever. They wanted to make him a starter. He had the stuff. I think emotionally had to get through it. Added a real good changeup.
In there, and the count 1 and 2.
Matter of fact, a long-time Dodger, Claude Osteen, talked to him many times. He said, you got to want to start. A little bit easier coming out of the bullpen, maybe facing a hitter once. Through the lineup 3-4 times, a little bit tougher. Not only physically, but emotionally.
2 and 2 the count. It's funny, every time Rogers throws a pitch, you see about 5,000 flash balls popping.
Yeah, right.
Randy Johnson remaining on the bench after pitching 2 innings tonight. The American League starter. And down goes Reggie Sanders. So that's a Kodak moment for about 4,000 who snapped at the opportune time. Here is tonight's Toyota Diamond Dust quiz. Hideo Nomo is the 4th rookie pitcher to start an All-Star game. He began the game tonight. Who's the only rookie to have started an All-Star game in center field? Answer in the bottom of the 7th inning. Mull that one over as Barry Bonds looks at a strike. The count is 0-1. Bonds has struck out and grounded out. And Rogers misses away.
Yeah, I would imagine that it would be one of the center fielders of the 50s, either Snyder, Mays, Mantle, Richie Ashburn, who's going in the Hall of Fame this year.
Well, Mays would be too obvious an answer.
Yeah.
Our man Steve Hurt wouldn't have come up with that if it was Mays. Right, Steve? One ball, 2 strikes.
I'm going with Del Unser.
Del Unser? Good player.
Speaking of center fielders, the guy on the right, Jolton Joe.
The interesting thing about Joe DiMaggio is that his first 3 All-Star games, he was a right fielder. Earl Averill was the starting center fielder.
Right.
I'll tell you got to be a pretty good center fielder if you can play there in place of DiMaggio.
Well, in the voting, whether it's the managers or whomever, the fans, you vote for outfielders. And the broken bat there, and Barry Bonds giving someone a souvenir and a new bat coming back. But you could conceivably have 3 center fielders selected to the team. You have to just find a couple of guys to play left and right. One ball, 2 strikes the count. And it's 2-2. One of the American League coaches is Johnny Oates. It's traditional when a game is played, the All-Star game, in the home park of a team, that team's manager is normally assigned coaching duties, and that's the case tonight as Bonds hits it down the line in right field, and it is foul.
Yeah, a lot of managerial stories in the American League. Oates leaves Baltimore, where he has him 14 games over 500 because he wasn't a favorite of the owner, Peter Angelos. He comes down here. The manager here, Kevin Kennedy, as we take another look of Bonds just hooking one, breaking ball that he gets way out in front. Kevin Kennedy goes up to Boston. He's got him in first place.
That ball was awfully close to the line for Bonds not to have been running.
Yeah, well,
that ball misses by 2 feet, and Bonds is still in the box.
And of course, it's well known that Barry incurred the wrath of the fans in San Francisco and gave it back to them as well in a dubious retort earlier this year when he didn't chase a fly ball to left field off the bat of Kelly Stinnett. Here he lost one to right, and Puckett comes in to make the catch, and the ball wound up hitting the top of the fence. The crowd booed him, and what they're saying is, in effect, hey man, if you're making $7 million a year, hustle, would you? Speaking of hustle, zip, Don Zimmer. Recently retired, coaching with the Rockies earlier this season.
Leonard Coleman, the National League president, to Zim's left.
Now Piazza at the plate. Hits one to deep right field. Kirby Puckett going all the way back, and it is gone. Mike Piazza. So the National League has tied the game and all of the scoring tonight on home runs.
Awesome power. This ball hit out the opposite way, and pound for pound, there is nobody in baseball stronger than Mike Piazza. Nobody.
Now McGriff fouls it back.
Well, he just hits these soaring fly balls. Now, it came in this year hitting .321. Now, in the history of baseball, there's only been one catcher that's had a higher batting average after 3 years, and that's Bill Dickey. Bill Dickey passed away a couple of years ago, but not after getting into the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Breaking pitch for a strike, and the count is 0-2. Well, it's a low-scoring game, but the fans have seen great pitching, and when you come to an all-star game, you want to see home runs, and they've seen 3 of them tonight. So they made the most of the least. Only 8 hits in the game, but 3 homers.
Well, this guy can hit one. I mean, I'm not talking about Nomo. I'm talking about McGriff.
And he takes off the plate. Ball 2.
Only the 9th player in Major League history to have 7 consecutive 30-plus home run years. This guy can mash.
I like 2-2.
How you mentioned that down by 2 runs just the other night, Sunday night, 3-run home run to win the game. And I said, gee, nice hitting. He said they needed it. He's so unassuming until he gets a bat in his hand.
McGriff trying to hit 30 or more home runs in 8th consecutive year, but he is on a pace right now not to do it. He's hit only 11 at the All-Star break, and as you know, the season is shortened this year to 144 games. So it'll be close. Of course, the Braves are red hot right now. They won 9 straight and lead it in the National League East. As McGriff goes down on strikes. Fastball. Got him looking. But in the inning, Mike Piazza hits a home run. And at the end of 6.5 in the 66th All-Star game, the game is tied 2-2.
Dr. Pepper presents Just What the Doctor Ordered. Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh, the 1994 All-Star Game. Score tied, bottom of the 10th. Tony Gwynn on first. Moises Alou at bat.
Swinging a drive into the gap. This could do it. They got a play to Rodriguez. Safe.
For baseball fans and National Leaguers, Moises Alou's hit was just what the doctor ordered.
I've got a taste for living when you're by my side. Must be what the doctor ordered. Dr. Pepper's on my mind. You're the part of me that's the heart of me. Dr. Pepper, you're a part. Dr. Pepper, you're a part of me.
I can definitely connect my love of nature with the work that I've done. This is a polyester bottle. There's 30 billion pounds of polyester plastic produced in the world each year. Most of that has to be disposed of. DuPont has developed technology that allows us to recycle it endlessly. It actually unzips the molecule. This soda bottle, perhaps it will become the shirt that I'm wearing. Or videotape, curtains, films, carpeting, fabric, audio tape. It's evergreen. The cycle can continue on and on and on.
Onward and upward, the awards, the honors, the accolades for the Toyota Camry continue to rise. Driven by a powerful V6 engine, precision crafted to the highest standards, Camry has risen to become the gold standard, while its starting price hasn't risen at all. Introducing the 1995 Toyota Camry, newly styled, refined, and headed for even greater heights.
Meet the world's most courageous and inspirational athletes at the Special Olympics World Games. Plus more racing from the Tour de France, Saturday on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Back at the All-Star game, Al Michaels with Jim Palmer, Tim McCarver in the booth, Leslie Visser and John Saunders working the dugouts, Rick Dempsey out in the bullpens. A lot of changes here, and a special treat on the mound if you haven't seen him. Here are the changes. Now Dante Bichette of the Rockies takes over in left field. In right field, the Dodgers sensation Raul Mondesi with a fabulous arm. Mickey Morandini is the new second baseman from the Philadelphia Phillies. Mark Grace of the Cubs is at first base. The new catcher will be Darren Daulton of the Philadelphia Phillies with Piazza out, and on the mound is a guy you just have to see pitch. Carlos Perez, the rookie, the brother of Pascual and Melito Perez. And if he strikes somebody out, you will see a show. The pitch to Cal Ripken is outside, ball 1.
It would be only fitting to have Carlos Perez do well because he's the first Montreal Expo pitcher ever to make an All-Star team.
Good breaking pitch.
As a rookie. Yeah. As a rookie, I should say.
Well, now he's going to throw Cal Ripken a 1-0 changeup, and Cal will swing through it. Watch his reaction. Oh, yeah. Now, Joe Kerrigan, who's acting as a pitching coach for the NL because he's Philippe Allou's pitching coach up in Montreal, and also Carlos's, said he even does that in the bullpen when he warms up. It's part of the act.
Foul back. A lot of people think it's hot dogging.
And it is.
And some of the players, and it is, but why not? It's great. There's Kerrigan and Alou. But as Joe said, in the bullpen or when he's throwing on days between starts, just warming up, he does the same thing.
But Kerrigan will also tell you, as Philippe looks on, he said it's not just about the play acting and all that. This kid can pitch at 24 years old. I mean, he's got a good fastball, great control, great split ball when he gets ahead of the hitter. And we've already seen the changeup. So it's not just about acting.
Here's the 1-2 to Ripken inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And we'll see. I mean, he's only 24. Keep that in mind. Now, he just 1 and 2. I think that was a purpose pitch. Run him way inside. See if Cal can maybe take a look at the next pitch. He'll see if he goes away.
How great must this guy be in a disco, huh? And it's lined into left field for a base hit. So Ripken is on, and now Kevin Seitzer will bat for Boggs, and let's get a word with Leslie Visser.
Al, one of the most exciting batteries in baseball, Hideo Nomo and Mike Piazza. Mike, tremendous home run, but we have to ask you about Hideo. Why is he so good, and how do you communicate with him?
Well, I do the best I can. Obviously, he had his good stuff tonight. I mean, he could have went 9 tonight. I could tell he was really fired up, and I don't know. I mean, he's really perceptive. I've really had no problems at all. We talk, and he just seems to pick up what I'm trying to tell him, and we're locked in. I mean, we got great communication.
I guess you're telling him to throw strikes. Good luck to you. Thank you. Back to you, Al.
Okay, Leslie. The pinch runner at first base for Ripken is Gary DiSarcina of the Angels, who will probably stay in the game at shortstop. And now Kevin Seitzer, the only Brewer on the All-Star team, stands in. And the first base is swung on and missed. 0-1. I love watching Perez.
Yeah, he's great. Really is. Kidding about the hot dog stuff. There's a difference between hot dogging and being animated. And I think it's just it's part of Perez's arsenal. As you look at 2 guys with pretty good arsenals right there.
Neither of them accustomed to sitting on the bench.
The 0-1 pitch is lifted to right field. And waiting in his tracks is Raul Mondesi, and that's the first out. Kirby Puckett coming up. Well, we asked you in the top of the inning, the only rookie center fielder ever to start an All-Star game. Here's the answer for the Toyota Diamond Dust quiz. Richie Ashburn. You got it. One of the guys we mentioned.
All right.
1948. Whitey.
One into the Hall of Fame this year, along with Mike Schmidt. As a matter of fact, the last 2 years have been Philadelphia Philly years. Steve Carlton going in last year.
Yep. Pinch hitter Manny Ramirez. Ramirez will hit for Kirby Puckett. I mean, not since Mark Fidrich has there been a guy on the mound like this.
Yeah, you're right. How many times do you see a guy diving back to first with no throw?
Watch this.
Diving back, no throw.
And for DiSarcina, he hasn't seen him. It's the first time he's seen Perez. Gary off to a very tentative lead at first base. And it's low for ball 2. 2-0. Well, his brother Pasquale, who pitched for a long time, mainly with the Braves, was very demonstrative and was a real character. But then there's Melito, who's kind of a cool customer.
Passive.
Yeah, he pitches with the Yankees. Melito right now on the disabled list. But there are all kinds of Perez brothers and cousins and other family members who've been involved in professional baseball through the years. 3-0 the count.
It's kind of like all in the family for the Montreal Expos. Felipe Alou is his son playing left field, and what a player he is, Moises. And the brother of Matty and Jesus Alou. Jesus Alou winning the batting title in the middle 60s. Or Matty Alou, I beg your pardon.
Three balls, no strikes. Game tied 2-2 in the 7th inning. And Ramirez hits one down the left field line, hooking toward the corner and going just foul.
Well, I got to think Carlos Perez knows about Manny Ramirez. All the pitchers in the American League do. I mean, this kid is a second year. And just check this ball.
Close. But the left field foul line umpire, Ted Hendry, right there to call it. A lot easier to call a close play involving the foul pole in an all-star game or a postseason game because of the presence of the foul line umpires. So no dispute. 3-1 pitch is inside for ball 4. Ramirez walks. In the American League now with runners at first and second and 1 out. And Pudge Rodriguez coming up, and now Felipe Alou is going to go to the mound. Well, he wanted to give Perez a chance to play in this game. Felipe has a sense of what, baseball needs, and among the things it needs is Perez to make an appearance, and he did. But now Felipe's got to think about winning the game. So he'll go to the bullpen. 2-2.
Despite going 0 for 56 as a replacement player, as well as committing 37 errors, people ask if I'm disappointed that the strike is over. For me, just showing everyone how much money could be saved by dialing 1-800-COLLECT. That was the opportunity of a lifetime.
Oh, well, I'm the kind of light that likes to bend around. You can point me left or right, or hang me upside down. But I'm not the kind of light you have to hang on to. Just use me when you need 3 hands, but you've got only 2. Cause I'm the snake light. They call me the snake light.
It's the totally flexible hands-free flashlight from Black & Decker.
Yeah, well, the snake lights from Black & Decker. We get around, 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 around.
Diet Dr. Pepper, the taste you've been looking for.
Here at Goodyear's biggest tire plant, we're gearing up for the tire sale you've been waiting for. It's our 25% off sale. Save 25% on selected Goodyear tires at participating retailers all across America. But hurry, this sale ends July 22nd.
A U.S. satellite with a nuclear payload is missing.
It's like somebody just took it.
Global disaster is imminent. This I'm trained for. Steven Seagal, Under Siege 2, Dark Territory, rated R. Starts Friday, July 14th.
Their son died for his country, but not at the hands of the enemy. How and when they found out will outrage you. A search for honor and justice. 2020, Friday.
2-2 is the score. Runners at first and second now, and Heathcliff Slocum of the Philadelphia Phillies comes in to pitch, with Ivan Rodriguez of the Texas Rangers at the plate. Go-ahead run at second base. Carlos Perez out after facing 3 batters. DeSarcina at second and Ramirez at first. And the pitch is in there. 0-1 to count.
Yeah, Felipe Alou's instructions to Heathcliff Slocum: get a double play. I mean, can you think of a better guy to do it? Out of nowhere. I mean, we talk about unknowns that all of a sudden are knowns. 20 saves. That's only second to Randy Myers, who's sitting out in the bullpen for the National League.
That's fouled back. They're using Slocum just to, I would think, get out of this inning. Among other things, he threw more than 50 pitches Sunday, which is obviously a lot for a closer because the Cubs and the Phillies wound up going into extra innings. Oh, 0-2 the count. And down he goes. So Slocum comes out of the bullpen And there are 2 down.
You may have noticed the initials on the left thumb of the glove of Heathcliff Slocum. The initials are DS. To his wife, who died of cancer 11/29/92. She died 3 years ago, Debbie Slocum, and he is not remarried, but very touching thing.
Well, he's another of the guys who is an improbable. He is anything but a flash in the pan, having pitched professional baseball since 1984 and having bounced around. In there for a strike, and the count is 0-1 as Jim Edmonds stands in with 2 out and 2 on. Edmonds earlier this season a 23-game hitting streak, tied for tops in the majors this year along with Dante Bichette. So Heathcliff Slocum trying to keep the game tied at 2, misses low, 1-1.
Who would have thought last year that the California Angels would have had 4 representatives on the All-Star team?
And not only that, but think about the fact that not here would be Chili Davis, who's second in the league in hitting, Tim Salmon having a very good year, and Mark Langston, who's 8-1. Those guys aren't here, and 4 of them are. The 1-1 pitch is high, ball 2. Of all the stories in baseball, of all of the improbable stories, and we were talking about the individual improbabilities tonight, the Angels rank right up there.
Well, we talked about Cleveland and 6 guys here and their great offense, but the Angels scoring more runs than the Cleveland Indians. That amazes me. Credit to Rod Carew, their batting instructor.
Edmonds grounds it foul on the count, now 2 balls and 2 strikes. One of the Angels, DeSarcina at second, and Ramirez at first. Well, the Angels are a team obviously to watch right now because they're a lot better than anybody thought. They're in the middle of the race, tied for first place with Texas, and the infusion of Disney money. Disney with the option now to eventually buy the team when Gene Autry passes away.
And the addition of Lee Smith.
Big Lee Smith. Not that the Cowboys ready to pass away, mind you, but
of course not.
We love the Cowboys. Down goes Edmonds. He strikes out. Slocum does the job, and the Americans threaten but can't score in the 7th. Still 2-2.
I want you inside here with me now.
Meet the future's most dangerous killers. One's digital.
Somehow Sid got himself out of the computer. I think I'm gonna like it here.
The other's the law.
Where's my gun? Come on. Doesn't mean we can't be friends.
He's interactive.
Hey, Parker!
He only enjoys playing against his favorite opponent.
This one's for you!
And that's me.
Virtuosity.
Game over.
Rated R. Starts Friday, August 4th at theaters everywhere.
The customized 1947 Harley Davidson, about $15,000. The Big Twin Shaver, about 35 cents. What do they have in common? They're both worth every penny.
This defensive coordinator's nightmare is brought to you by Thurman Thomas and his Righteous Low, who remind you that players are made in the preseason.
The infrastructure of America is in serious trouble right now. The problem is it's old. We're working our way out of the steel and concrete age to what's next. That's composites. Composites are reinforced plastics with fibrous material. It's a very light material, but a very strong material. DuPont's objective in building a composite car will be to triple the fuel economy. Big change. Being able to build things with these new materials is the most exciting process that I've ever been a part of.
It's as far as Michelin science has ever gone. Our biggest breakthrough since we invented the radial. Technology that brings us to a new level of performance, in good weather and bad. In the rain, in the snow. Technology so advanced, it even saves gas. The new energy tires with Radial XSE technology from Michelin. It's science that goes beyond magic.
Canadian drivers Jacques Villeneuve and Paul Tracy lead IndyCar's best north of the border. They hit the streets for the Molson Indy Toronto Sunday on ABC.
Go to the top of the 8th. Let's check in with John Saunders.
All right, Al, thanks a lot. Standing by with Cal Ripken Jr. Now, last year you went into extra innings. They didn't get you out of the game. You come out early, and they had to tug you a bit. You're not used to coming out of games.
That's true. I mean, whether it's the All-Star game, it's the regular season. I mean, when you're out to the play, you're out to the play to the end.
2 hits in this game, but let's talk about the streak. Has it been a distraction for you this year? It hasn't seemed so.
Actually, it's been a pleasant surprise. Starting the season, I was getting all kinds of advice to say you should have press conferences, et cetera, and I thought that was a bit much. But as we go into the city, I talk 10 minutes about the streak on the first day in before I have any offers, get it all out of the way, and then I'm free for the next 3 days. So it's worked out well.
All of the things you've accomplished in baseball, the streak here running as far as all-star games, the records you've set in the field, the hitting that you've done, over 300 home runs, and you'll be remembered for the streak. Do you ever wonder about that?
Well, you know, I'm comfortable with it now. It used to be I used to fight that label of the guy with the streak, but it's turned the corner into a positive thing, and I'm trying to enjoy it as best I can, and what the heck, the streak's not bad.
Not bad at all. We'll see you in September. Congratulations, Cal. Back up to Al.
All right, thank you, John. Steve Ontiveros of the A's is the new pitcher, and Jeff Conine of the Florida Marlins has just made it 3-2. Conine hitting for Gant as the designated hitter has given the National League its first lead of the night. All 3 runs, solo homers.
And the last 2 runs scored by the National League coming from a 62nd round draft choice and a 58th round draft choice. Think about it. There were about 2,000 players drafted in front of Mike Piazza and Jeff Conine, and they're responsible for the last 2 home runs. Unbelievable.
Larkin at the plate, and the count 1-0. Well, I guess the theme of the game has been the improbability of some of these guys who are playing tonight. And here it is, the only Marlin in the game. I mean, who in the world scouts a guy who would be picked in the 58th round?
Right.
How many people can you look at? Ontiveros throws out Larkin, and there's 1 away.
And the guy who came in to get the National League out of the last inning, Heathcliff Slocum, coming in with 2 on to strike out 2.
Meanwhile, O'Neill is in left. Paul O'Neill. Edmonds takes over in center. Ramirez is in right. Kevin Seitzer stays in the game at third. Gary DeSarcina at short. Alomar still in at second, and Vaughn at first. Mike Stanley of the Yankees is the catcher, and Ontiveros is on the mound facing Bobby Bonilla. Steve Ontiveros continuing the theme, a fellow who has been released several times, spent a lot of time in the minors. He told me before the game, he said the low point was 1992. He and his wife had a hard time having a baby. She finally gets pregnant, has a miscarriage. He gets released by Detroit. He's out of baseball the whole year, only to reemerge the following season. Comes back with Seattle. Then the A's pick him up. He's a free agent at the end of last year, elects to re-sign with them, and here he is in the All-Star game. Outside. You know, he said before the game, he said when he was released by Detroit, he said, you know, I've always heard about the term pink slip. He said they actually sent me a pink slip to tell me I was gone. And down he goes. So Bobby Bonilla gone on strikes for the second out.
Well, he always could pitch. 89 had actually the Tommy John elbow transplant, but that split-fingered fastball, boy, does it make a difference as Buck Showalter comes out to talk to him.
It's revived a lot of careers, hasn't it, Jim?
Certainly has.
Mickey Morandini of the Phillies will be coming up for the first time, and they'll go to the bullpen and bring in the Tiger, David Wells. In the 8th, the National League on top, 3-2.
From Gillette comes a uniquely different form of protection for men. Gillette Clear Gel Antiperspirant. Unlike a stick that can stay in your underarm hair, this is a soft gel. It goes cleanly through the hair right down to the skin surface to fight odor and wetness where it begins. And that means powerful all-day protection. The revolutionary Gillette Clear Gel Antiperspirant.
Play Pennzoil's Brick
Brickyard 400 sweepstakes. 10 grand prizes of both a trip for two to the Brickyard 400 and a 95 Chevy Monte Carlo Z34. Over 80,000 other prizes. Enter wherever Pennzoil is sold or installed by the pros.
Brickyard's the game. Pennzoil's the name.
You ever hear anyone talk about life like you gotta chew it up and spit it out? You gotta want it so bad you can taste it. You gotta be hungry. If so, Gatorade has one question for you. You want something to drink with that? Because you're gonna be thirsty. Life is a sport. Drink it up.
Gramercy Press in cyberspace. We can set up our own bookstore on the internet. Click the book they want right on the screen. They're reading the baby. We can go to the schools, textbooks direct to the children's little hands. Cool.
Marketplace MCI. Your new business address in cyberspace. Online, interactive, secure, at your fingertips. To install the 21st century in your office today, call 1-800-888-8100.
Sunday.
Come here, you gotta hear this chick.
It's people you know now but didn't know then.
What are you gonna do? You're an ice cream cone.
A special half-hour edition of Before They Were Stars Sunday.
Yeah, you look at that shot. This is a brand new park, but it's built in the old style. You know what that reminds me of? It's sort of like that first Sports Illustrated cover, which was taken from third base, ground level, with Wes Westrom catching and Eddie Matthews batting when SI began, over 40 years ago.
Back in 1953
it's that same angle, and it's almost that same look that County Stadium has. David Wells in to pitch here with 2 out in the 8th inning.
This is Jim and I were just talking about it, saying we'll probably go to our graves saying 1's a fastball, 2's a curve, 3's a slider. Mike Stanley talking to David Wells, and the first pitch he crossed him up.
Well, David's left-handed. What can I say?
David saying maybe 1's not a fastball and 2's a curve.
I'm sure Rick Dempsey out in the bullpen can relate to that.
I want to know who Wells's haberdasher is.
Oh, I don't know.
Morandini at the plate. I mean, did you see when David started in from the bullpen? It looked like, his shirt was half off.
I mean, he's quite a story. His record 8-3. But how about pitching for the Tigers? I mean, Sparky has got him 3 games behind the Red Sox. Nobody thought Sparky would even be there after he said, I'm not going to manage replacement players. The Tigers, another story. I mean, there's so many this year.
That gets him looking, and Morandini has gone on strikes. But Jeff Conine, who was the only position player named to the All-Star game last year who didn't get into the game, hits a first pitch home run here in the 8th inning, and the National League leads 3-2.
It's been said that everyone will be famous for 15 minutes. For some, that's just their daily commute. The 1995 Lexus Coupe.
From Walt Disney Pictures, he is going to get you a new elephant.
I am not getting them an elephant. Got Doyle?
They walked it. They floated it.
Oh, no, she's seasick. She's gonna blow! Hey, what?
But when things got really ugly, they decided to drop it. Disney's Operation Dumbo Drop. Rated PG. Starts Friday, July 28th at a theater near you.
confirmed at 059. Located and launching on my market.
This guided missile is brought to you by Ken Norton and his Reebok NFL Pro Line jacket, who remind you that players are made in the preseason.
Your own minor league baseball team, roughly $1 million. The Big Shaver, roughly 18 cents. What do they have in common? They're both worth every penny.
A battle over an equity consultant for Fayette County schools could be decided tonight. And a mother charged with killing her son is out of jail. Those stories after the game.
Bottom of the 8th inning. Roberto Alomar of the Blue Jays leading off. Heathcliff Slocum trying to keep him close. Jose Offerman of the Dodgers is the new shortstop. As Alomar lifts it down the line in left field, but drifting over is Dante Bichette to make the catch. One away. And let's go to the bullpen and Rick Dempsey.
Well, here's a manager's dream. I'm sitting between two of the best closers in the game of baseball. Todd Worrell, my man right over here. He's probably one of you guys is going to finish this game right here. Todd, what do you feel about it?
Well, if Slocum gets out of this inning, he may have all three of us get in the 9th inning.
Randy, are you going to be ready?
I'll have to warm up and try to get there, but I'll try to be ready.
All right, you got to hold it down. I'm waiting for you to make that strut back and forth. 200-pound thing. All right, back to you, Al.
All right, thank you, Rick. Our man, the Demp.
Oh,
is he a beauty or what?
Oh, yes. Well, his parents were in vaudeville.
Here's Tino Martinez. He's hitting for his teammate, literally, with the Seattle Mariners, Edgar Martinez. They are not related. Tino named to the team when Mark McGuire suffered the concussion and was told not to fly. So Martinez, the Mariner first baseman, on a half swing, comes around, says Mike Winters.
Well, if you're a closer like Slocum, you're not used to giving in to hitters, and that's what he gets behind. He still throws him a good slider. And that ball just going down and in.
And that hits first base. That's a fair ball and bounds into the corner. If he tries to go to second, well, that's too bad, because that was Mondesi. And even though Martinez may not have seen Mondesi in person, he knows all about Mondesi's arm.
This ball hits the first base bag, and look how quickly Mondesi is on it. Over the head of Mark Grace. And Mondesi on that ball. There are not too many right fielders in baseball who get to a ball like that when they're playing straight away in the position, but Mondesi did to hold Martinez to a single.
And they'll go to the bullpen with 1 out and 1 on in the 8th inning. Tom Henke comes in.
For cars that can benefit from higher octane,
Frank, we're late.
Texaco Clean System 3 Power Plus and Power Premium are formulated to clean your engine's intake valves, fuel injectors, and combustion chambers while you're driving. For smooth starts and sure acceleration. Just give us 5 tanks, and we think you'll see a difference. A word of advice, though. Maybe you'd better leave the windows rolled up.
Add more life to your car. Take it to the star.
I'll have the chili.
Chili? You should know better.
And I'll have the fries.
Fries? You should know better.
And now I'll have the Mylanta.
Mylanta? You should know better.
You should know. Dose for dose, Tums Ultra neutralizes more acid than Mylanta regular strength. And while this has aluminum and magnesium,
Tums Ultra has calcium, something your body needs anyway. You'll like that.
I'll have the chili. I know. I should know. Tums.
Time marches on. And if you haven't planned for your retirement, you're losing ground. If you're like most Americans, you probably haven't saved enough, long enough, to retire on solid ground. That's why there's Sun America. Ask your financial advisor about Sun America today. Because the only thing that goes faster than money is time. Look to the sun. Sun America.
Somewhere men are laughing.
and somewhere children shout. But there is no joy in Mudville. Mighty Casey has struck out. Maybe they should have traded him for Bonds.
A 3-run tater for Barry Bonds.
National League on top 3-2, bottom of the 8th, 1 out. A reminder on Saturday on ABC Sports, the Ford Senior Players Championship featuring Arnold Palmer and Lee Trevino. And then the Special Olympics World Games highlighting ABC's wide world of sports and racing from the Tour de France. End of week 2 this Saturday right here on ABC. Al Michaels with Jim Palmer and Tim McCarver, and Tom Henke of the Cardinals comes into work. He pitched here last year with the Rangers. With the tying run, Tino Martinez at first and 1 out, and Mo Vaughn looking at a strike. The count is 0-1.
Well, when you talked about Tom Henke in Toronto, he was called the Terminator. I mean, he can bring it. Got a great splitter. He had a guy at the plate with 24 home runs with 1 swing. I mean, he bludgeons the ball. Mo Vaughn is not about finesse. He's not going to get cheated. He might get fooled.
Well, it's interesting that you bring up Tom Henke's nickname in Toronto, because that's what he might do after this season. Terminate his career. Telling Al and me yesterday that unless the Cardinals make a move to be competitive next year, he is unsure as to whether he will return in 1996.
The bat splinters and the ball is tipped foul at the plate, and the count 1-2. Then we asked Mrs. Henke what she preferred, and she was very non-committal.
Yes, she was very diplomatic.
So it remains to be seen whether Henke comes back as we take another look at the bat shattering again. And also there's the possibility that this could be Kevin Seitzer's last year.
Kevin telling me before the game that he's about 80% sure that he will retire at the end of this year, and he's only 33 years old. But in an odd twist, he said that the 8 months off during the strike gave him a chance to reintroduce himself to his 2 children.
As Mo Vaughn takes a look at called strike 3.
Well, you talk about position of the ball on the plate. Dalton moves away. Pitcher's pitch. Let's see. As we look overhead, does it get the plate? Close enough. Tell you what, you get the catcher out in the corner and you hit the glove, you're going to get a lot of pitches.
Especially from Durwood Merrill.
That's true. Throw it here. Check out those arms.
He will give you the black of the plate, as they say. And an inch or 2 beyond. As Paul O'Neill stands in, but you were talking about Seitzer and rediscovering a normal family life, which is, I guess, one benefit of a strike in a perverse sort of way for some players.
Right. You wonder how many other players found that same satisfaction.
2-0 the count. Paul O'Neill, batting champion last year. Hitting here with 2 out. The National League on top 3-2 in the 8th inning, and Tino Martinez the tying run at first base. Just off the plate. 3-0.
I would imagine Paul will be hitting here. Nice batting average in the American League versus right-handed pitchers. You could bet he is swinging. Buck Showalter knows that Jethro, that was his affectionate nickname pinned on by Pete Rose, knows he can hit.
And he looks at a strike. He thought it was ball 4, 3-1.
Well, normally it is.
He'll take that, though.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't want to walk. And that was, if it was a strike, it was a strike on the corner and not to O'Neill's liking.
Martinez at first. Below average speed, and they back off on him at first base as O'Neill hits a high fly ball to left center field. And drifting over is the Cubs' Sammy Sosa to make the catch. At the end of 8, it remains the National League 3 and the American League 2.
In the preseason, my back hurts. My arms hurt. My legs hurt. My brain hurts. Even my teeth hurt. But come the regular season, it's all worthwhile. Because I get to hurt right back.
Here's why the Saches are another Tylenol extended relief family.
I get headaches from stress on the job. That's my story. The pain would make me just want to go home and hide. Now I get relief that lasts my entire workday.
Now Christine uses Tylenol extended relief with this unique bi-layer caplet. One layer of strong relief to attack the pain quickly, and one layer to make sure that strong relief lasts.
Extended relief. It does the job.
Tylenol extended relief. Strong relief right away. Strong relief the whole day.
Little investment advice. Bip Roberts, 1986 rookie card, worth about $275. 20 years from now, who knows? 1,000, 2,000, might even go.
Bip, man, you were looking at Robin Roberts. Says here your card's worth 4 cents.
Yo, T, 4 cents if it's in excellent condition, but 10 cents if it's totally mint.
Oh, sorry.
You may not remember exactly when it first hit you, but somewhere along the way, you felt it, and you knew. It's coming.
You know this right-wing politician, but do you know his lesbian activist sister?
To be perfectly honest, I'm much more embarrassed by the things that he says.
Candace Gingrich, Wednesday.
Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes providing the Scenics. Beautiful shot of the ballpark in Arlington. Open now for a year and a half. North Texas hosting its first ever All-Star game. Looked like Will Clark for a second.
Yeah,
that's Scott O'Grady, the downed pilot who was shot down over Bosnia-Herzegovina about a month ago. One of the honored guests at tonight's game. Funny picture pops up. And speaking of Will Clark, well, that's pretty good.
He's the guy without the cap.
Lookalikes.
Right.
Will Clark,
Will agreeing with us.
Ranger first baseman.
Will
almost
also
as if on cue.
Will also looks a little like Nolan Ryan, too, in that picture.
He does. Sammy Sosa to lead things off. Jose Mesa out of the bullpen. Mesa of the Cleveland Indians facing the Cubs' Sosa. A lot of people looked at tonight's game as sort of a pivotal point for the sport of baseball. And we mentioned at the top, we're not going to rehash what the sport has gone through. You all have heard about it ad nauseum. As Sosa hits a high fly ball to right center field and drifting back in front of the 377 sign to make the catch is Manny Ramirez. One game isn't going to turn it around. The sport knows it has its problems. Huge problems are still to be solved. We all know attendance is down 20%. The flip side is 80% of the people have come back, haven't left the game. There's a heck of a lot of work to be done. And baseball really has to think about the future, and a concerted effort is necessary to get this sport back to where it was a year and a half ago. And the players know it as well as anyone right now, or any particular group.
Well, the players better know it, and the owners better know it, because everything is ancillary when you compare it to a labor agreement. That is the one thing that everybody is agreed upon that has got to get done, and the quicker the better.
Mondesi flies out to Ramirez, 2 down.
Yeah, and how about a leader, a commissioner of baseball that doesn't have any conflicts? And stop telling, for years, 20 years ago, they said we care about the fans. Finally, baseball, the players and the owners got to show them. And you know how you do that? Great pennant race. It's starting points tonight. Great pennant race, postseason play. And this guy right here, is there any more exuberance than the two cities, the guy on the mound from Cleveland and the guy from Colorado?
Yeah. Dante Bichette of the Colorado Rockies with 2 out. And the base is empty. And the count is 0-2.
Well, you know, we talked about Slocum for the Phillies being a great story. Cleveland, best offense, second best pitching. They needed a closer. This guy, 21 in a row. 98 miles per hour, has been around for about 7 or 8 years. Has finally gotten it together. Jose Mesa. And as you said, only 29?
Well, the book says 29, but think about it for a second. If the book is right, the book being the Baseball Register, which is normally pretty good, he signed as a 15-year-old in 1982 with the Blue Jays.
Joe Nuxall.
Well, whatever. Yeah, that's right. So Bichette is gone. Mesa does the job. I don't know if he's 29 or 39 or 49, but he can pitch. And he throws hard. It's 3-2 the National League as we go to the bottom of the 9th inning.
Saturday, ABC Sports features golf's greatest legends, the world's most courageous competitors, cycling's international elite, and baseball's best in prime time. First, the Senior Tour's big guns play one of their premier events in the Ford Senior Players Championship. Then on ABC's Wide World of Sports, meet the world's most inspirational athletes at the Special Olympics World Games, plus more action from the Tour de France. And that night, the game's biggest stars and top teams step to the plate on Baseball Night in America. It's all Saturday on ABC Sports.
Wednesday's a special night for home improvement when Tim accidentally loses Jill's wedding ring.
What did you do?
Nothing.
What was that noise?
I don't know, but it had a familiar ring to it, didn't it? Home Improvement, followed by Ellen, Wednesday, here on ABC.
Hi, I'm Drew Carey, and I'm from Cleveland. You know, the Indians haven't been to the World Series since '54 when we were swept by the New York Giants. But now we have 6 Indians in the All-Star game, and we have the best record in the major leagues. Finally, it's your team that sucks.
The Drew Carey Show coming Wednesdays this fall on ABC.
The 1995 All-Star Game is being brought to you by DuPont. Better things for better living. And by Beechwood-aged Budweiser, the king of beers. This Bud's for you. Well, the game has featured some great pitching and a lot of power. Only 11 hits in the game, but all of the runs accounted for on home runs. And there have been 4. And now Randy Myers comes out of the National League bullpen. Myers of the Chicago Cubs. And since the American League has used all of its position players, they can pinch hit. And coming up will be Gary DiSarcina, Kevin Seitzer, and Manny Ramirez.
Well, 1 out of 3 if you're an American League fan, it's not bad. Only one of those 3 hitters really home run hitters trying to get back in this game with 1 swing.
It's interesting to note that the last time that Darren Daulton, the catcher for the National League, and Randy Myers, the pitcher for the National League, saw one another was 2 days ago when the Cubs ended a series in Philadelphia. In the bottom of the 12th inning of that game, the Cubs won that game in 13 innings. In the bottom of the 12th, with the bases loaded, Jim Riggleman, the manager of the Cubs, employing a 5-man infield that left 2 outfielders. Darren Daulton was the runner on at third base. A ball hit back to Turk Wendell, the pitcher, who came home to the catcher Scott Service, and Darren Daulton went into him as one is paid to do, to take a catcher out of the double play. Service completed the play to first base, and ultimately the Cubs won it. But if there was anybody who was not intentionally trying to take Scott Service and put him on the DL, he's going to be out for 4 weeks with a sprained left knee. It was Darren Daulton, and Darren expressing to me before the game his concern for Scott Service and how sorry he was that it happened. But if he had it to do over again, he'd do the same thing because that's what he's paid to do.
And now Myers and Daulton, the battery, as they try to close out Gary DiSarcina and the American League. And it's a soft fly ball to shallow right center field. And Sammy Sosa in front of Mondesi for the out. 1 down. And Kevin Seitzer comes up. Here's the MCI. Sorry about that. Thinking about Bronfman. MCI proof positive replay. Jeff Conine, which with a home run here on the first pitch he saw in the 8th inning, pinch hitting, and that will turn out to be the game-winning hit if Randy Myers can take care of the 9th inning.
There he is. Funny thing about Conine, went to the Marlins in the expansion draft from Kansas City because he had elbow problems, and here's Kansas City a little bit in the race. What do they need? Offense. And because of the elbow problems, Conine not there anymore. Last in offense is Kansas City in the American League, but terrific pitching.
1 ball, 1 strike on Kevin Seitzer, the fellow we were talking about before, who's contemplating retirement at the age of 33 at the end of the season. Manny Ramirez on deck. In the game tonight, Frank Thomas, a 2-run homer for the American League in the 4th inning, and they led until the 6th. The National League did not have a hit until the 6th. Biggio hit a homer. Piazza homered in the 7th inning, and Conine homered in the 8th inning. 3-2 National as it's fouled away.
Another thing that Kevin told me, a reason that he may retire, he wants to open a baseball school in Kansas City with the catcher of the Boston Red Sox, Mike McFarland. They're the best of friends. They live 5 minutes away from one another, and that's another thing the strike gave him a chance to do, teach young players how to play the game of baseball.
3-2 the count.
As we watch this game, it reminds the only game I ever was able to pitch on, and then the American League One was in 1971. All the runs were driven in by home runs. Jackson, let's see, Robinson, Killebrew.
Here's the 3-2 pitch, hit sharply on the ground to second, and right at Morandini. And the American League gets down to its final out.
And you got Bench and Clemente, all those guys in the Hall of Fame, and tonight home run really making the difference.
Manny Ramirez, as you look at Conine and Biggio, and what would be the odds that those guys would be involved in a home run parlay tonight?
Well, when you talk about guys that can hit home runs and have quick bats, you're looking at one of the best young hitters in the American League. You can hit for average, you can hit the ball the other way. Tough to be fooled because he can wait so long.
That's in for a strike. Ramirez grew up in the Dominican Republic and then came to New York. And every time the Indians show up at Yankee Stadium, his pass list is very full. Great kid.
Oh yeah. What I like about it is the work ethic. Played the entire 1994 season as a DH. Mike Cargrove in Cleveland said, I'd like to put you in the outfield. He said, well, I'll go back down to the Dominican, learn how to play the outfield. Now he can do anything. And this year, a pretty good outfielder.
1-1 pitch is outside. 2 balls and 1 strike on Manny Ramirez.
3 pitches on the outside part of the plate, and I'll guarantee you Randy Myers will not come inside to Ramirez in this situation unless it's a mistake.
Exactly. And his strength. I mean, a couple of years ago, over 50 saves, Randy Myers, as you look at Nomo, still hanging around because he's got great control.
That's outside. Mike Stanley is on deck. Myers behind in the count, 3-1. And it's 3-2.
So that's what pitching's all about. As Tim McCarver told you, 3-1. You still don't give in to the hitter. Catcher moves away. You make your pitch or you walk him. Because if you're a closer, you don't get this guy out who can hit the ball out of the ballpark. You're going to work on the next guy. You have that kind of self-confidence.
3-2. 2 out, bases empty in the 9th. The National League leading 3-2. And he fouls it straight back. Felipe Alou and the Cubs manager Jim Riggleman. Buck Showalter discussing things with Jim Edmonds. And the 3-2 pitch is just high, ball 4. So Merrill, and we talked about the fact that he has a huge strike zone, all of a sudden narrows it. And now Mike Stanley comes to the plate.
Well, take a look. Dalton, and you see the release by Myers. Dalton sitting away. You know, pretty close pitch. Normally it's called a ball. Tonight's been a little bit bigger strike zone. You can see right now, not only maybe high, but definitely outside. So Durwood Merrill with a good call there.
Well, Mike Stanley comes to the plate, and wouldn't this be a dramatic story for a guy who played here in Texas, was platooned back at the plate, and then when Pudge Rodriguez came up from the minors, they knew they had a superstar in the making, and that made Stanley expendable. So he goes to the Yankees, and so here he is coming back whence he started,
well, his claim
with a chance to win the game.
Yeah, claim to fame here was to catch one of Ryan's no-hitters. Now, the claim to fame in a Yankee uniform is that this guy can hit. 2 years ago, hit over 300 with 20-plus home runs. He is a terrific low ball hitter with good power at all fields. I've seen him hit many, many balls out in center field in Baltimore. 410 here in the ballpark at Arlington, only 400 feet.
Well, he's going to have to hit it out the opposite way if he hits it out off Myers, because Myers is not going to come inside to him. He'd go away, 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 and if he makes mistakes away, his theory is that it's a single. You make a mistake inside, it's a home run.
And they are playing him to hit the ball to right field.
They sure are.
Yeah, Sosa over a couple of steps. Big gap in left center.
1-1 pitch is foul back. So again, the American League down to its final strike.
Came inside then, didn't he? Yeah.
But way inside.
One ball, 2 strikes. Two and 2. 3 runs, 3 hits for the National League tonight. All home runs. 2 runs, 8 hits for the American League. And the 2-2 to Stanley is lifted to right field, but right at Mondesi, who makes the catch. And the National League on 3 home runs, their only hits in the game, win it for the 2nd year in a row. The National League beats the American League 3-2. Well, it begins with Nomo and it ends with Myers, and in between you've got Biggio and Piazza and Jeff Conine, the only position player last year not to get into the game, comes up tonight, hits the first pitch into the seats in left, and the only representative of the Florida Marlins wins the game for the National League. And now for the MVP presentation, let's go to Leslie Visser.
Alan, with a guy who didn't even play in the game last year, but he's awfully thrilled to play tonight. I am joined by the Chevrolet 1995 Most Valuable Player, Jeff Conine of the Florida Marlins, and to present the trophy, Kurt Ritter of Chevrolet.
Thank you, Leslie. 2nd time's a charm for you. Listen, on behalf of all the Chevrolet dealers across Canada and the United States, I'd like to present you with the Chevrolet MVP trophy.
Thank you very much.
As well, Jeff, we will be presenting an Astro van in your name to the Special Olympics. Congratulations and best of luck to you the rest of the season.
Thank you very much.
Jeff, what does this mean to you? 3 hits, 3 home runs for the National League, and a terrific home run that you hit.
Well, if you can't do it in postseason, you want to do it in the All-Star game. And some of my buddies back in Florida said, hey, if you get in the game, you got to swing for the fences. And I wasn't thinking about it, but it happened.
Well, congratulations to you. I think this will help bring people back to baseball. Al?
Okay, thank you, Leslie. Jeff Conine with the game-winning hit, a home run in the 8th inning. The National League wins it. Heathcliff Slocum of the Phillies gets the win. Steve Olivares of the A's takes the loss, and Randy Myers gets the save. Remember, baseball night in America begins This Saturday, regional action. Check your local listings. This gang will be in New York for the Twins against the Yankees. So the National League wins it 3-2. Al Michaels for Jim Palmer, Tim McCarver, Leslie Visser, John Saunders, and Rick Dempsey saying good night from Arlington, Texas.
Saturday on ABC, the stars of the Senior Tour compete for one of their most prestigious titles at the Ford Senior Players Championship. Then on ABC's Wide World of Sports, meet the world's most courageous and inspirational athletes at the Special Olympics World Games. Plus, the Tour de France rolls on. Now stay tuned for your late local news and ABC News Nightline over most of these ABC stations. You are watching ABC Sports, recognized around the world as the leader in sports television. This telecast has been produced by the Baseball Network in association with ABC Sports.
First it was OJ, then it was you. Thursday it's Matlock.
One of the aliens has a crush on you. She has all the necessary attributes.
She does? An out-of-this-world affair?
Ben Matlock called an alien love triangle.
A scandalous Matlock. Then it's an all-new McKenna, where the adventure's as big as all outdoors.
Winner gets the other guy's wheel.
If you run away, you are showing what we learn in law school, the phrase consciousness of guilt. You know, one of those phrases they teach lawyers that no one else in the world really uses, but what it really means is you don't run away if you didn't do it. So the question then becomes,